in the next 4 years, we're supposed to have a political federation. Do you see it happening, and how can the young people specifically in the countries enable this to happen? David?
The political federation program is at its peak now, because we are now writing the framework that will enable the fulfillment of the integration, the political integration, and that is right in the constitution. For now, the constitution's drafting is in the hands of experts who are assigned to produce a draft. And once that draft is ready, because the draft has to go through many processes in terms of validation, in terms of consensus, in terms of many other things. And I think this is the point where we shall want to see the youth seriously engage in the validation process, whether through negotiations or through voting, or many other ways which shall be proposed. So that is going to be a very good entry point for the young people also to influence the framework for the political federation. But also, right now, there are many programs at entry points for the youth in EAC to shape the political federation that is coming. Not necessarily in 4 years, because we cannot guarantee that. But as far as we are concerned, we still continue with our processes of empowering the political agenda for youth, and also increasing youth capacity to engage with these processes. The current youth ambassadors are not going to be lucky, because some of them have missed these processes of participating in the election observation in Burundi. Due to the response to COVID-19, we cannot deploy. And that is one area where young people learn a lot in terms of how leaders come, and the whole process behind it. And it's a very big, I think this one thing we are going to miss for the current youth leaders and the youth ambassadors who are supposed to participate in this process. But there are many others, empowerment processes that we do in participation and in partnership with the other institutions, including TCDC and other diplomatic missions. For the purpose of the Youth Ambassadors platform, I don't want to engage much in it, because I know Petrida will come with a lot of information on what is going on right now, because they are the one who innovate, who shape the programs, and then we feed back into our own at the EAC at a bigger level. Recently, you had just 1 second. We had a summit, head of state summit, by video conferencing, and I shared the report with a number of the communique with a number of our connections and links. But the key important thing, which I know the youth can also innovate, but also I think the youth lead can also delve in terms of current COVID response, but also the post-COVID mechanisms, which the heads of states have proposed. I think that's one area which you can innovate from and see how can we get involved as young people with this broad proposals by the heads of states in terms of COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, David. To build on what you have highlighted about the engagements for EAC ambassadors, I'd like to invite Petrida Paul. Is she there? Can we hear you?
Hello?
Hi, Petrida.
Hello.
To reintroduce her, Petrida is a member in the African Union Youth Advisory Council, and also a member of the East African also a member of the East Africa Youth Ambassadors Platform. So Patrida, can you kindly highlight how the youth strategy is looking like for the African Youth Advisory Council and EAC Youth Ambassadors Platform amidst the pandemic at the moment? Patrida? Sorry,
Okay.
I think.
All right.
Okay.
I was muted. I mean, thank you, Beatrice, and apologies for the inconveniences. My neighbors have been knocking the doors lately, and I think it's all the stress surrounding COVID-19 and having to work from home. So my name is Patrida Paul, as you have already been introduced, and I'm a member of the African Union Youth Advisory Council under the Office of the Special Envoy for Youth, but also an EAC Youth Ambassador platform member, where I coordinate regional youth ambassadors activities within the region. So just to share in what we have done from the African Union level, and then I'll trickle it down to the East African community level. So at the African Union Commission level, we've been working together with the African Center for Disease and Control, Africa CDC, under the leadership of the AU Youth Envoy, and also Her Excellency Amira El Fadil, the AU Commissioner for Social Affairs, but also Professor Sarah, who's also the Commissioner of Science and Technology, where we've recently launched an African Youth Front on COVID-19. This is an initiative African Union working with different partner states and different institutions, UN agencies, and also the Friends of the African Union to broaden the work of young people who are from Africa. As currently we have a lot of young people who are doing a lot of work, but their work is not being spotlighted enough. So what we have done is we are working with national youth councils, young people from SADC, COMESA, ECOWAS, and the East African community, and also women networks, networks of youth with disabilities, to be able to profile their work and also collect information on what are the needs on the ground, so as we can find better mechanism to further support, whether it's informing the African Union Commission Center for Disease and Control, or whether to find better strategies in place, especially with the current situation where most of the African countries still face the challenge of accessibility of enough preventive information, and there's a lot of misinformation happening within countries in Africa currently in line with COVID-19. But also I think our strategy more has also focused on more interventions on being the lead interagency youth focal point, where young people can have access to key policymakers and key decision makers, whereby young people can engage with commissioners, where young people can engage with various leaders within the region. Recently, we've also been working with UNECA. We've been working with different diplomatic missions to ensure that the youth voices during this time in different fields, especially when it comes to also issues of education. How do we provide more information on innovation that is associated with education, and how do we reach around the young people who are in the grassroots, who's the largest population and who are currently left behind. So looking around how best we can provide more information and more solutions through these processes, and trying to link the young people who are affected and different partners and institutions who might be of help. But also at the EAC level, what we've done is we've done a lot of work in implementation, especially currently we are moving on to a merger with ULEAD, as a regional youth leadership program, whereby we're going to be collaborating with the YouLead platform in delivering key activities throughout 2020, especially activities related to the business youth forum, political youth forum, but also looking forward to the YouLead Summit. Just to sum up a bit on specific tasks that currently the EAC, East African Community Youth Ambassadors, have been doing is more on informing different stakeholders within the region and working on spotlighting some of the work that the young people have been doing within the 6 partner states, to share more information on addressing COVID-19 and the issues that's affecting them, as currently we still have a lot of young people who are affected on education. And I think this is the situation whereby we are at a standstill. I could say that majority of the young people in East Africa are in the rural communities, and some areas where even radio stations or television stations are hard to reach or are not accessible, despite different government interventions to be able to provide these services for free. But also, how do we ensure there's proper information that is shared out? How can the millennials be champions for change? Because at the current stage, majority of the millennials are seen as not taking COVID-19 seriously. And I think this is something that we are trying to demystify and change the perspective around it. But more of, I think for 2020, we are still looking forward to implement most of the activities virtually. We are going to find better ways to engage different young people within the region, but also at the African Union level, to be part of that process where they can help inform key decision makers. And I'm happy to have heard from the previous speakers, His Excellency, the Deputy Ambassador of UK to Tanzania, and Her Excellency, the Deputy Ambassador of UK to Kenya, including Mr. Adam. I think we have worked with them before, and I think what they have shared mostly sums up on what partnership and collaboration efforts can be done at this stage to bring about a bigger impact and address the issues together as one.
Thank you, Petrida. Thank you for the comprehensive and passionate and very informative brief you've given us. We really appreciate. Allow us to read a few messages from the chat. Angel Muteteri, who I think is joining us from Rwanda, is saying that I think our education system should be redesigned to meet market demands rather than too much theory that leaves the youth with no skills at all. And also there are other comments that we are seeing from El Nai. We have seen many youth musicians raise awareness about COVID.